So one thing's for certain, an ENG sound mixer has a very complicated task of having to boom and mix at the same time. And one of the difficulties is in the growing expanse of data, there is a lot more times that we are doing these extended takes that are just so long and so exhausting that we're wearing out our bodies in ways that we shouldn't than if we had these really cool products that I'm going to talk about today. The product that I'm here to talk about today is called the Boomhanger, and this thing I'm telling you is one of those products that I believe should be on every single harness that is either sold or it should be next to every single harness in the store. It looks like this, and there are two different versions. It comes from a company in Amsterdam, and there's the Boomhanger and the Boomhanger Pro. And the idea is very simple. You take this clip and you put it right onto the threads of your harness, like so. And as soon as you do, the idea is you can take your boom pole, and I'm going to actually extend it out quite a bit. I've got a K-Tech pole here. I believe this is a K202, so it goes out quite far. All right, I'm out about 18 to 20 feet, and what I'm going to do is just plop that in there and take my hand off. I can tell you that this is just relaxing, because if I had to do an interview or I was doing a bunch of on-the-fly interviews on the day and I just needed a break, if I didn't want to hold this like this for the next 2 or 3 or 4 hours, or even if it was 20 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 2 minutes off, that gets exhausting after a while. Even sometimes you need to be able to put your boom pole down and touch the faders or adjust something in a menu. Before, how did you do that? I used to have to wrap my hand around and pray that my arm and my forearm is strong enough with this 18 to 20. I'm hurting right now. You can see that I'm starting to shake already. This is how I would have to do it. So you're sitting here with famous actors over your head just going, please, arm, don't give out, don't give out. Oh my gosh. Or you have the other option, which a lot of people do, which is they put the boom pole on their head and then they try to look down, or maybe they're not looking down because they have muscle memory, and they know 1 2 3 4, okay, I'm adjusting the fader that I need, and then they can go and pick it up. But that's not very professional. Once again, if I'm putting a boom pole on my head, one thing that can happen is accidents where maybe somebody bumps you and your headphones begin to fall and the boom pole falls off of your head. You never want to have an option like that happen. So, this company created the boom hanger that allows you to just plop it in like that, and it has a good enough hook that it keeps it nice and neat. It keeps it close to the body, and it keeps it very controlled. You can see that I just have one hand on my pole like so, or I can even wrap it around like this. I personally don't like it like this. I like to have it a little bit farther down. But sometimes if you're walking through a hallway, you might need to bring it up like so, like that. But it's great. You can walk around as you're using it. It's just a great tool. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's a hook that goes on a harness that literally is going to remove so much fatigue during the day. You would not want to work without it. It's funny. I started using it and then I took it off for a few days and I was like, "Oh my gosh, now I have to hold the pole more and I'm a lot more exhausted." And when I'm having to make adjustments, I feel like I'm fumbling around like I used to. It's not like I'm fumbling around, but I'm having to show my strength more and to hold the pole in weird ways to keep it in the position that it needs to be as I'm making my adjustments, and then grab the pole again, where instead I can just put it in the clip and do what I need to do and go from there. This is great when you're working on locations or you're working on remote locations where you can't bring a C stand, and then they're like, "Hey, we need to do an hour-long interview." Doing an hour-long interview like this would not be that bad. I would be able to stand and just kind of, flip back and forth and be able to handle it no problem. And if you need to, you can flip it from side to side or just get one on each side. They were gracious enough to give me one of each, but I lended one to Matt Brodnick from Banff Sound so he can do a review as well. Um, so yeah, the idea is pretty simple. Now, another thing that they do have is when you purchase this, it comes with a couple of accessories. The first thing it comes with is this little foam piece, and the whole idea is that obviously this is made out of ABS plastic, and we have nice, pretty carbon fiber boom poles that we don't want to get scratched. So what you do is you take this piece off and you put it on the hook. So I am going to take this and stick it right up at the top. And then you just kind of follow it along like so. And the whole point of that is to kind of grab the boom pole and to make sure that it's not sliding around. Because that's one thing. If you're holding it at the knuckle like so, that's not too bad because obviously without this foam, it's, hooking onto the bottom of the knuckle. But without the foam, if you're in the middle, there's a potential of it scratching and there's also the potential of it moving around. So this kind of helps to keep it planted on the hook and keep it a little bit more stationary so you can do what you need to do. This is a great tool if you're working in long hallways and you know that you're not going to have time to always close the boom pole to put it up at rest. If you're just sitting there and they're like, okay, hold on, we're going to have like a 2-minute rest and then we have to go right again, you might be stuck in a position like this where instead of fatiguing yourself out in between takes, you can be resting on the boom hanger. It's a great tool. The last thing that I want to talk about when we discuss the boom hanger is that there is the option to use this guy without a harness when you're working as a standalone boom operator or a sound utility. And the idea is that you would attach the hook onto a lanyard and put it around your neck. And so when you're doing smaller, not intricate scenes, it wouldn't be something when you're, moving around threading needles in between actors. But if you're just doing something simple where it's like one person over a table and you want to rest your hands and you have a 20-foot pole out, you would be able to take this, put it in the lanyard, rest it in, and be able to hold it as well. I like it. It's a great tool for the ENG mixer. I don't necessarily think this is a great tool to be using on union sets all the time because it shows that we can't necessarily hold up and do the job that we're aimed to be able to do. We need to be able to show that we can handle everything that they're throwing at us. But on the flip side, it's also good to make sure that we have these tools that can help relax us and help us with the fatigue throughout the day. So what I recommend is if you're at all straining throughout the day, give this thing a shot. It's absolutely worth it. I know for a fact that this one stays on my harness 100% of the time, and every single day that I work, I am using the boom hanger. There are two different versions. They have the light version and the pro version. The version that you're seeing right now is the pro version. The idea of the pro version is if you are doing a lot of heavy booming with longer, bigger microphones, we're saying like 416s or 816s in Zeppelins, maybe it would be best for you to get the pro version. If you're just doing light work with shorter poles, the light version is probably going to be fine for you. And if you're confused or you have multiple harnesses, I recommend getting a light and a pro and putting one on both. That way you have one for every single option. Once again, this is Thomas from Video Mantis. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.